Today on In Focus, with award-winning host Yesenia Taveras. Right now, online, is special guest, co-founder of Academy Creative Arts Studio, Ray Hancock, on WYTN 22. Hello, welcome to In Focus. I'm your host, Yesenia Taveras. Joining me today is Ray Hancock. He's an author, actor, MC, entrepreneur, and brand ambassador from Wilmington, Delaware. He's recently released a handbook titled 15 Minutes of Fame, The Art of the Brand, and he currently works as the arena host for the Delaware Bluecoats right here in Wilmington, Delaware at the 76ers Fieldhouse. He's also worked for major brands like Nike, Nintendo, Netflix, the NFL, the NBA G League, Microsoft, and Samsung. He joins us today to share with us his journey as an entrepreneur and how he's been able to stay afloat during the COVID-19 pandemic. Welcome to the show, Ray.
Wow. Hello. How are you? Great intro. Yes, that was lovely. Thank you. That sounded like a mouthful. Thank you so much.
It definitely is, especially when you're a person with so many accomplishments. So congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that warm intro. And it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me on the show. I'm excited and I'm really looking forward to it. Congratulations as well on all your success.
Thank you. And it's my pleasure. I've been meaning to interview you prior to pre-COVID, and then COVID hit. So I'm very excited to have you on In Focus. Your story is the kind of story we love to highlight here on In Focus because you're a true Wilmingtonian. And I'm really big on highlighting stories from those who are right here in Delaware to kind of help put Delaware on the map. So let's get right into it, Ray. For those who don't know anything about you or your line of work, share with us a little bit about your background, being born and raised, where you were born and raised, and in regards to your upbringing here in Delaware.
Yeah, well, you got it correct, Yesenia. I'm definitely a Wilmingtonian. I live in Wilmington right now, but I was born and bred in Delaware, lived in Delaware all my life, as far as Newark, Newcastle, Wilmington. Spent some time in other states, as far as Georgia, Atlanta, San Diego. Lived there for brief stints. But all in all, man, I'm Delaware born and bred. And this is home, man, and I love it. It's a great place to be. There is a lot of opportunity and a lot of great people out here doing a lot of great things. So it's just a pleasure to be, from an awesome state that doesn't always get the most shine, but it is a privilege. And for the most part, my family was born and bred in Virginia, different parts of North Carolina. So I have a lot of country upbringing, I guess you could say. Most of my family's from the South, and I'm first generation Delawarean as far as me and my sister. When my parents moved to the north and what they call the big city, I guess, as opposed to being in the country. When they moved to the north, they gave birth to my sister first, who was 10 years older than me, which is like my second mom. I call, she's like one of the most outstanding people I know, just a great influence in my life and a great support. Always been there for me. Same for my parents, both always been there, coming from a full home, full of love. I had my mother was always there. My father was always there, and they were both entrepreneurs as well. And I think that kind of inspired me, growing up, seeing, the hurdles that they had to overcome, just being minorities and being entrepreneurs and being in a new place and a new space, making it happen. I think that was really inspirational for me as far as just being, a teen and an adolescent, just kind of seeing that little bit of freedom that they had. So definitely Delaware born and bred, went to Newark High School, graduated 2000. I don't know if I want to tell you because I ain't trying to put my age out there. Almost, yeah, you almost got me though. I might tell y'all later what year I graduated, but I graduated from Newark High School and I went to University of Delaware for about 2 semesters before I actually dropped out to pursue a lot of the other things that you kind of mentioned in the intro.
And let's get into that. So you mentioned you are a graduate from Newark High School and you ended up going to University of Delaware, but you did not finish at University of Delaware. You ended up dropping out because you pursued some endeavors. You're really into music. Talk to us about that part of your journey and what happened during that transition in your life.
Honestly, when I graduated from Newark High School, I received a full scholarship from, at the time it was MBNA, which is now Bank of America. So I had a full scholarship to go to University of Delaware to go to in-state school. So it kind of became a no-brainer for me as far as, just alleviating that pressure on myself, on my family, because I had other prospects as far as other schools I could have went to. But at the end of the day, if they was pretty much giving me a full ride to go to in-state school, it's kind of like it was like the decision was kind of already made for me, if that makes any sense. Just because it was an easy route to go, right? It's like it's close to home. I'm not paying a ton of money out of pocket for my education, so it just made sense for me and my family. But I don't think that that was necessarily where my heart and my passion was. I think I was kind of just going with the flow as far as a lot of other kids that I graduated with from high school. They was like, we're gonna all go to state school. It's just a thing to do because it's close to home. We can stay home and still kind of be in the mix. But personally, I encourage kids that are pursuing education outside of high school to try to get away from home just a little bit, even if it's not far. Go like 2 hours away, just far enough so that your mom and your dad can't just pop up on you and surprise you. Like give yourself a little bit of distance, because I feel like that's what really creates an additional collegiate experience. Because for me, it was like I was at college, but I was still at home. So it was like I was still doing a lot of my usual tendencies as far as, people I was associating with, good and bad people. And it's like I didn't really have a chance to, I guess, have that growth because I was still kind of associating with, people I had already known all my life. And some of them not the best influence of people. I don't, I'm not here to judge anybody, but at the end of the day, when we're young, we all make mistakes. We all do things as far as getting in trouble with misdemeanors or the law or what have you. It's just a part of our youth. So I think that by not allowing myself to necessarily really branch out to have different experiences, and by going to homeschool, I kind of limited myself, my growth personally. I wouldn't say that about everybody, but for me, that's how I kind of perceived it because I still had passion in everything outside of school. Like I was not interested in economics at all. I'll put it to you that way. I was in this class, like, what is this guy up here talking about for like an hour? Like, I'm like, I want to go out, I want to make music, I want to party, I want to do my own thing, I want to be creative, I want to design clothes, I want to produce fashion shows. We were influenced by, the Jay-Z's, the P. Diddy's at the time, all of these entrepreneurial men in spirit that had this spirit. So that's kind of what kind of grabbed a hold of us to say, hey, we don't necessarily got to go this traditional route. We can be enterprising and do things on our own. So for me, like that was part of my experience as to why school just didn't stick the way it probably should have.
So, although you were seeking your passion in regards to music and having your own clothing line, there was a part in your journey where you ended up having to work in some form of inside a mailroom. Talk to us about that part because sometimes, I like to take our viewers from beginning to end. Sometimes a lot of people just focus on the famous part of the success and what it looks like, but they don't know the beginning and they don't know the sacrifices you went through or the lessons you've learned going through your journey. So you dropped out of University of Delaware. You were pursuing your music career and clothing line, but then you found yourself working in a mailroom. Take us back to that part.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, reality sets in. And throughout my journey, even as I was leaving school, I wasn't maintaining my GPA to pretty much keep my scholarship as free as it was originally, which is something that I encourage all kids to make sure that if you got a scholarship, you got to maintain that GPA because if it drops, then you got to pay. So what happens was, I found myself in a space where I wasn't going to class, wasn't doing the things I was supposed to be doing because I think I had to maintain like a 3.6 or a 3.7. I mean, it was pretty intense. And I didn't maintain my GPA. So at the end of the day, I found myself where it's like, okay, now we got to pay for school. We have to pay for things that I initially didn't have to pay for. So in the midst of being an entrepreneur, a young 18, 19, 20-year-old entrepreneur, the reality sets in where, hey, you still got to provide for yourself. You still got to pay for your automobile. You still got to pay for your living expenses because I wasn't living at home. So ultimately, I had to end up getting a job to supplement my income, and I was working at pretty much with a temp agency. I was like working in a mail room at the time for the American Cancer Society. And it's crazy because one morning I just woke up being as ridiculous as I am. I was like, I'm not going to work today. Like, I'm going to go play basketball. So I didn't go to work like I probably should have. And I went to go play basketball, and I ended up like dislocating my ankle, like just like horrible injury. Like I couldn't walk. Like my friends was laughing at me because my ankle was like sitting sideways. It was horrible. And I mean, I was pretty much bedridden at this point. So, for the next 3 to 4 months, even shorter than that, because I got on my feet way quicker than I was supposed to. But I was essentially bedridden where I couldn't move. I couldn't get out and work. I couldn't do all the things that I was used to doing. I had to be dependent on people helping me, bringing me food, and using crutches and having this cast. And it was just for me, it was a humbling experience. Um, and it was a learning experience because I do believe that things happen for a reason. I'm definitely a big proponent of that. So I don't regret anything that happened because honestly, I wasn't happy with that job. I didn't really see a future with that job. I was doing it obviously to make ends meet, which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm the type of person where ideally I would like to have some type of passion behind what I do. So I decided to not go to work that day, dislocated my ankle, and ended up like literally bedridden indefinitely. And from there, I was at a space where I was like, I don't want to say I was depressed, but it was hard for me because I wasn't doing all the things that I was used to doing. So for me, that was an eye-opening experience that kind of helped me transition into the next chapter of manhood, I guess you could say.
And I definitely want to talk about that moment because it's very important to me to highlight mental health because of the pandemic, not only because of the pandemic that we're currently in. Mental health has been an illness that so many Americans have been struggling with prior to COVID. And now with these restrictions on most of our states throughout the United States in regards to being out and communicating with people again, it's really tough on a lot of people. But you just made mention to being bedridden for months and being in that mental space where it was really tough for you. So, how did you focus on your mental health during this part in your life, and what did you do to kind of stay focused so that way you didn't find yourself just kind of spiraling down to depression?
Um, Honestly, at that time, music. I mean, I was always doing music. Even prior to that, I was making a lot of music, but um, at that point, the music was the only thing that I had to kind of still do creatively that didn't require me actually moving. Like all I needed was a pen and paper. So I spent a lot of time writing music, writing poems. And honestly, I was still hustling. Like I was doing a lot of selling a lot of different odd merchandise. I was still like I was designing T-shirts. I was selling things on the time, like on Craigslist, just like merch as far as electronics, stuff I would buy and sell from uh, just like thrift shops, just different things. Like I always kind of had a hustling mentality. So one of my friends had made a joke at the time because he was like, "Man, you out still hustling on crutches." And I was like, "We had a music conference that we were supposed to go to. Me and my partners at the time, our group was the Cartel Enterprise. We had a music conference we had to go to that we had already like spent money on and stuff like that. So it was like I had to go, and I was out there like on a cane, like they thought I was trying to be cool, you know what I mean? But I was still out there. I was like, I'm all right, you know what I mean? But I really wasn't. Like to this day, I probably have scar tissue in my left ankle because I did not rehab the way I was supposed to. But I was still being myself, honestly. Like when you're young like that, you feel kind of invincible. So I was taking the challenge head on, but I wasn't allowing it to slow me down because you know, I always had that entrepreneurial bug on me. So I think I had a line in one of my songs about how I was out still, hustling on crutches because that was just like we just had uh a lot more youth and vigor obviously at the time, but where we were going, like nonstop. So it was like a speed bump in the process, but a pleasant one because it shows you who you are. It shows you how you can overcome obstacles. And honestly, I just continue to be creative and I continue to market goods, man. Like market our goods as musicians and just market goods, period. Like that was just all part of our MO.
And what did you learn during that process in regards to like consumer goods and how humans actually purchase items and things like that? Because during this part of your life, you end up becoming a brand ambassador. And you know that quote, you make it further in life because of the people that you know. And so you kind of had a connection through a friend. But take us to that part in your life where now you become a brand ambassador and you start to learn the way that us humans purchase goods.
Pretty much in between me working honestly in the mailroom and working as a brand ambassador, a friend of mine, actually a girl named Jennifer Mundy, she works as a event manager for Hennessy. She did a lot of events for Hennessy, and at the time she was also working for Metro PCS. So one day, just being on social media, just kind of coming across her page, she was like, she sent me like a DM, like, oh, okay, brand ambassadors need for Metro PCS pays like $20 an hour. And you'll be pretty much out promoting different deals for, Metro PCS. So I'm like, cool, sounds cool. I think she said pays in like 3 days or something like that, which at the time was like, this sounds great. You know what I mean? So actually went to that particular gig. The very first time I went to the gig, in the business, what happens is when you have teams, you'll have somebody that's called a team leader, and then you'll have the brand ambassador. But then on certain teams, you'll have a team leader, a brand ambassador, and you'll have a mascot. So for this very first gig, whatever happened in the confusion, like I ended up being a mascot. So I was literally like in this. I don't know if you remember the original Android logo, like the little green guys that be on the commercial. But I was pretty much that dude, like in an inflatable suit. Like the suit was like filled with air. It was fans blowing the suit up, and the suit is like 6 feet tall and has these really little short feet in it. So you have to like walk and shuffle in this little suit. And honestly, I mean, the job paid like $25 an hour, and I was in the shade. I literally had a fan inside the suit. Like I just had my headphones and like I was listening to music. I was like, this isn't the worst job at all. Like, you know what I mean? And I guess the girl that was our team leader at the time, she had just been already ingratiated with the business. So she had a lot of connections as far as all the different companies, all the different agencies. Because at the end of the day, it's all about different agencies. It's probably hundreds of agencies at this point to work with. So she pretty much put me on the game and was like, I mean, I like what you're doing. I like your energy. I like your positivity. I like your attitude. You need to, I'm gonna start booking you for these gigs, these assignments, and so on and so on. And then she even gave me like a list of all these other companies to work for, not just the one I was working for that day. And I mean, from there, I like the very next assignment that we did, the very next activation we did, like I was a team leader already. So I went from like being a mascot to being team leader in like a matter of weeks. And then from there, it was like the rest was history because I started working a lot for Metro PCS as far as the contracts I had with them. They were one of my regulars, but then I got opportunities with Samsung and Nintendo, and it just kind of spiraled into this whole life of its own because I kind of fell into something that I liked doing. I was good at it, and it just stuck. And I kind of never looked back from them. But I don't even remember my team leader's name, but I do remember Jennifer Mundy, which was the first girl to kind of point me in that direction.
And you briefly just talked about the opportunity to expand your career as a brand ambassador to major brands like Samsung and Nintendo. Talk to us about the importance of relationship building because I think sometimes as entrepreneurs or just as professionals, we'll attend these networking events, we'll get people's business cards, and it's for some, that's where it ends. And they don't really know how to basically formulate that connection with the person to actually seeing it become something on the other side. So that could be getting a gig, getting a job opportunity, things of that nature. So talk to us about how you've been able to maneuver that.
Like I said, I got lucky. Like I can't lie. Like I've been pretty lucky in my journey just because like 90% of my opportunities have probably come from some form of referral. Just because I feel like because I kind of enjoy what I do to a degree. I think the people that I work with and the experience I've had, I think is kind of infectious, and I think that they understand that I'm not just there for the paycheck, which is nice, is cool, but I'm not just there for that. I'm there because I do enjoy the business. I do enjoy customer service. It's funny because these are a lot of the things that I talk about actually in my book as far as customer service, always being we say something called the ABCs, which normally in business is called to always be closing, but we call it to always be communicating. So we're always communicating with people, just having a certain level of ethics and principles as far as being early. I pride myself on being early to events. I try my best. They say if you're early, no, if you're on time, you're late, and if you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. So I try to live by principles like that as far as just really being a pleasure to work with, trying to make not only my life easier, but the people around me life easier. I'm a big proponent of working smarter over harder. So I think a lot of times, just from the relationships I've had, it's come off the strength of like I work with somebody once or twice, and they're going to be like, because the thing about the business, it's like musical chairs. Like I said, one minute you can be a brand ambassador, next minute you could be an event manager, next minute, you could be at any level of the equation. So it's important to kind of stay on the level with people so that what happens is no matter the situation in the future, they're going to remember saying, okay, Ray, yeah, he's a reliable guy. You know what I mean? He's going to show up. He's going to show up on time. If there's something that he can't do, he's going to communicate to us. He's going to tell us. And I think these are just the type of things that I stand on personally when I do not only do business with contractors, but just as an entrepreneur in general. Just having a certain level of principles and integrity with business is important because all you have is your word, and not only your word, but your what you produce. The value that you create. So personally, I've just tried to always create value going into any situation. We try to be a wing, not a weight. So if I'm working with a team, I'm going to go in to make sure, hey, I'm here to help you guys to make this go easier, to make this a better experience for everybody. And I feel like that's kind of what has kind of helped propel me to and from the next level.
And creating value and propelling you to and from the next level is exactly what you've been doing. You've landed opportunities to be on the stage, or should I say, the production of Netflix productions, from Unsolved Mysteries to being a cameo on Creed 2 to serving as an extra on 21 Bridges and 42. These two movies in which Chadwick Boseman was the main actor. So I can only imagine that kind of opportunity to be around that kind of greatness. Take us back to that part of your journey. What was it like landing those opportunities? What did you learn in the industry when you were there, actually at the job working? Take us back to that moment and share with the viewers who are really looking into getting into this kind of line of work. What should they look for, and how should they take away from the experience?
Honestly, you just gotta go, man. Like you have to be willing to put in the work. You gotta be willing to hustle. You gotta be willing to make sacrifices, and you have to be willing to take advantage of opportunities because nothing's promised in life. Nobody's entitled to anything. So at the end of the day, it's like if somebody presents you with an opportunity, like I said, these are things I talk about in my book. If somebody presents you with opportunity, even if you can't do it, you just gotta say yes because you don't even know when the next time that opportunity may present itself. You know what I mean? Like we have a saying, like I said, when I was coming up, is when the money's on the wood, you should take it, and not in the capitalistic sense, but meaning if somebody's like, hey, can you meet me right now? I want to buy your CD. I want to buy your T-shirt. You have to go meet them at that moment because if you say, oh well, I can't come right now. I'll meet you tomorrow. Then they'll be like, all right, whatever. And then tomorrow that person or that consumer might be on to the next person or the next product or the next candidate. So for me, a lot of my opportunities have honestly just come from just saying yes and taking full advantage of opportunities, even if I didn't necessarily know how I was going to make it happen. Literally, like, I mean, when I was working for when I worked as an extra for Creed, the opportunity presented itself initially through a charity foundation, which was casting for extras for the film, but non-paid extras. So, ideally what happens was the production was so big for Creed, they needed so many people in the audience that they would bust in extras that were just working on behalf of a foundation to be in the movie, but they weren't necessarily getting paid as extras. They were just a part of the group. So me, being who I am, knowing that honestly, I know when I get on set, I'm probably going to see people that I've met in the business, in the marketing business. Because what happens is in the marketing business and independent contracts, as far as being a brand ambassador or product specialist, you meet a lot of like minded people. So there are a lot of musicians, actors, artists, entrepreneurs already kind of in that realm, because that type of market is for people who create a lot of supplemental income or who need flexibility in their schedule. So the fact is, you meet a lot of like-minded people just being in that particular world. So the fact is, when you see a lot of these actors, extras, a lot of them are promotional models, brand ambassadors, product specialists as well. If that makes any sense, like they're not just actors. A lot of them, even though that's something that they pursue wholeheartedly. Me, I never pursued acting wholeheartedly. I was more of an entrepreneur, and knowing the value of branding and being your own personal brand and your own image. I look at all of my opportunities as just pretty much entrepreneurial experiences. So I don't even look at myself necessarily as an actor so much as an entrepreneur that's using different platforms to help promote your products, right? So you use music, you use movies, you use fashion, you use modeling, you use photography. We use all of these mediums to promote who we are and what we represent. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to. The first day I was literally with the what you call stand-in. So all of the stand-in were not, they were not getting paid. They were with the Trauma Foundation. I went from being a stand-in to being one of the team leaders for the volunteers, which I actually got paid for that. So I got paid to be one of the team leaders for the volunteers. And then within days, because of the people that I was meeting on set, as far as different production assistants that I've known from working as a brand ambassador with Nintendo, once I got on set, I realized, okay, so this casting agency is casting for these parts, and this casting agency is casting for these parts. Because what happens is, even within casting, you have non-union or what they call non-SAG extras, right? So me, I'm not officially SAG yet. I'm in the process of trying to get my SAG waiver. So non-union extras get paid less than union extras. But what happened was, I went from pretty much being a volunteer to a team leader to a non-union extra in a matter of like a few days. So because I knew different production assistants, they was like, because of the way I was dressed, they was like, oh yeah, Ray, you like, yeah, like you come up front, you gotta come sit up front. You know what I mean? Like literally like sitting ringside behind. I'm like behind Sylvester Stallone. I'm like 10 feet from Michael B. Jordan. Like this is right after he released like Black Panther. So he's like the hottest thing. Like all these people are like right there. Like, and it's just like I'm just sitting on the front row like I'm really at some fight. You know what I mean? Like we thought we was really at a fight. Like you know what I mean? We was there. Me and my bro, we were drinking like fake ginger ale, you know, and we had to act like it was like alcohol. Like we were having a ball. You know what I mean? Like so for me, it was so much more about the experience than just the money or anything. You know, the point I'm trying to make is like you just have to put yourself in that space. Because initially when I went, I wasn't even getting paid. But I went from just going for the opportunity to actually getting an even better opportunity. But if I would have never just went, because what happens is a lot of actors in our line of work, they would say, "Oh, I'm not going to that. I'm not getting paid." You understand? Instead of just saying, "Okay, well, let me go just to be in the mix, just to get the experience, the exposure." And from there, it trickled on to me having opportunities to shoot commercials, literally. And I think in 2016 I told myself, I was like, this is the year. I was like, I'm going to start working in television. I had no idea how. I had no real plan, but the mindset that I had, stuff just kind of started to unfold for me very gradually. So it's really just about you have to put yourself out there. You can't be afraid of rejection. You have to be willing to go in and say, hey, I might do some stuff for free. I might do some stuff for a fee, but at the end of the day, you have to get out there and just create those experiences for yourself.
And I appreciate you giving us that insight, because I feel like a lot of people forget about that opportunity, that you can be an extra on so many films that happen right here in your hometown area. And it's another opportunity to make money or not make money, but most importantly, to make connections with people who are in the industry that might propel you to another level in your career. And here you've been able to do that. Talk to me a little bit about how you've been able to transition all this experience to right here in your hometown, Wilmington, Delaware, working with the Delaware Bluecoats, who's an NBA G League, and you are the arena host. So for any of us who've been to the game, you get to see yourself out there. Talk to us about that.
I'm honestly a basketball junkie. Like I'm anybody that knows me, like I like sports, but they know I'm basketball crazy. Like I love the game so much. And the 76ers field house is not helping my addiction at all. Like it's not, it's definitely making it worse. And I love it because honestly that experience is just another one of those things that came from me just knowing the right people, being in the right place at the right time. Um I had already had some experience working as a host and some what we call a narrator at different auto shows, concerts, and stuff like that. So I spent a lot of time on the microphone, just communicating to consumers, doing different games, prizes, stuff like that. So I had already had a background in just being an MC, being a host, like I said, being a musician, writing music, performing music. I was never afraid of like the microphone. And I feel like that kind of sparked a bug for me to spend time on the microphone because I do like to talk. I like to communicate, and it's an easy medium for me. I know a lot of people are, terrified of public speaking and all that. Like I ain't never had that problem. Like you know what I mean? Like God bless everybody. I'm not judging people because there are things I'm scared of. You know what I mean? But public speaking is just not one of them. So for me, it was never a issue like to get on the mic and communicate to people. So the Delaware Blue Coats experience, the 76ers Fieldhouse experience came from, once again, just a relationship I've had in the business with a friend of mine who works on the 76ers Dunk Squad. And he sent me a DM, was like invitations to the Dunk Squad tryouts, right? And shout out to my man DH because he went with me to the tryouts. And I knew in my heart when I went to the tryout, like I wasn't going to make the team. Like I 120% understood that, but I also understood that it was at the 76ers training facility right in Camden. So I was like, I'm going just to go to the 76ers training facility, like period, just to go in the building. You know what I mean? Like that's really why I was going. And when I got there, it's like guys is doing backflips, break dancing, like I was way out of my league. You know what I mean? When I got there, so me and my man DH, we like, I don't know what we gonna do. Like we don't have no skills in here. So lo and behold, everybody broke off into groups. We had tryouts where you had to come show your stuff. Like you had to dance, you had to flip, you had to dunk the ball, you had to do something. And my man DH had did like a skit where he was like pop locking and break dancing, and people was like just loving his energy. And when our team came up, like literally we were all performing to the Will Smith Getting Jiggy with It, Getting Jiggy with It. So I don't even remember that song, Getting Jiggy with It.
Yeah.
So I literally like I took the mic from the guy that was hosting the tryouts. Shout out to my boy Darnell. Took the mic from him and I just freestyled over the song. Like I remixed the whole song. And I started getting everybody hype. I was getting the crowd hype. I was getting all of the judges who were there with the organization, getting them excited, getting everybody pumped. And from there they was like all the other people was like, oh, y'all never said we couldn't use the mic or whatever or whatever. And the director of the tryouts, he was like, listen, I told y'all it wasn't no rules. He was like, I told y'all could come do whatever you wanted. So I guess by me showing them my microphone skills at the tryout, which wasn't even for an MC, they saw my skills. And once they found out I was from Delaware, it was like the rest was history. It was just like smooth sailing from there. So that was just another, honestly, another opportunity where it came from knowing the right people and just going with no real expectation, with an idea of what can come from it, but no real expectation, just going just to be in the atmosphere, just to have a good time. And it turned out paying off big for me.
It sure has. And through all of these experiences, from working for major brand companies, like we've mentioned earlier, to coming home to Wilmington, Delaware, and working for the Delaware Bluecoats, you've really been able to take all those separate lessons, experiences in your journey, and kind of put it all together in a handbook that you've titled 15 Minutes of Fame, The Art of the Brand. You really took the opportunity to find another, I guess you could say, skill set of yourself that you didn't know was really there, and that is being an author. And so you took the time to put this handbook together and incorporate all of your experiences. Talk to us about this handbook, and then also explain to us how you got the name Fame.
Um, well, I'll answer the last question first, just so I can get that out the way. My name came from honestly, Well, when I was in high school, literally, I want to say 11th grade. I mean, me, my best friend at the time, HP, and my other good friend Daryl, who we call Thorough or Harv, um, we formed a group like in science class one day, like literally, and we were like, okay, for me, I think my original nickname was gonna be PK or something weird, and my bro was like, nah, because at the time I was a little flamboyant. So he was like, nah, he was like, it got to be something bigger than that. It got to be more flamboyant. So at first it was going to be like Hollywood or something like that. And I was like, no, you're not going to call me Hollywood, bro. And then he was like, all right, we're going to call you Fame. No, it was Fame Official. And I was like, okay, I like that. So honestly, my best friend, who his nickname is HP for high percentage, I gave him his name and he gave me my name. So that was kind of like our thing. And his name HP high percentage came from he used to think he was good at basketball. He had a high percentage jump shot. So we called him HP, whatever. But it was an acronym for other stuff too. But we kind of named each other. It was kind of like a rites of passage. And then we brought my bro in. Then we brought my cousin in. So it really just came from adolescence, man, and just being a musician. It was my stage name. And to this day it still is. I just dropped the official part. But I mean it stuck with me and that's kind of why that name is a part of the book because ideally the name the idea behind fame is literally just like leaving a legacy, right? You know, people want to be remembered, they want to be loved. So the idea with everything that we do, we try to do things to leave an imprint on the world, to leave something behind, which is another reason why I did the book, why I did the handbook, because I really wanted to have something tangible. You know, in this world right now where everything is so crazy and people are like, oh, take this stock class, take this real estate class, take this, take that. I was just like, you know, I just want to do a book because I have a lot of people that always ask me, hey, Fame, how you getting this line of work? How you doing this? How you doing that? Because mind you, the whole time I'm doing everything, I'm still running my business, the academy. So I have people that a lot of people honestly don't know what I do. And that's fine. Like I don't and some people are like just confused. Like I have family in like Virginia, like they have no idea what I do. Like they just think like I'm just the biggest thing ever to them because they're in the country and it's slower down there. And they're just like, I don't know what Fame doing, but he got it going on, you know what I mean? And that's fine for me because ultimately that's my journey. I can't project that onto other people. I just wanted to inform them on the things that I've done, you know, to live my life a certain way. Um, because it's not necessarily easy being an entrepreneur. I don't want to make it out to seem like it's all cupcakes and ice cream because I had my bruises. I worked those crappy jobs. I worked in crazy weather. I made sacrifices. You know, I traveled all over the country. I did Las Vegas to, being away from family, uh, having an irregular schedule. You know, some people can't thrive in those type of conditions. So for me, the part of the manual was to show people that, yeah, 15 minutes of fame, the art of the brand is about how you take your perceived 15 minutes of fame, whether you're a musician, whether you're an actor, whether you're a reporter, whether you're an author, whether you're a race car driver, whether you're a guitar player. To me, that is of no consequence because the common denominator is your brand. So, what are you doing to take your brand and put it on a platform, put it on a pedestal, making it easy for the consumers to participate, and making it easy for you to get out your message. So, for me, the whole idea behind the book was one to inform people of how I've been successful as far as using customer service, as far as using ethics, as far as using body language. Um, using all these different tactics to navigate in the world of marketing, in the world of music, in the world of acting. um the idea was to put everything in one place for me because realistically I honestly made the book for myself because I said I want to make sure I come out of this quarantine with something tangible to show for my time. I could have made a song or I could have made a video, but I wanted to make something that people could hold in their hands. My mom or my friends can hold in their hands and be like, okay, I kind of get it out now. I can. It's not Fame's not just telling me now. I can see it and I can read it, and that was really the motivation behind making the book. and really just to leave a mark, man, to leave a legacy, to leave something for my son so he can have some understanding one day of this stage in my life, what I was going through, how we persevered through COVID-19. And it's really just it's almost like it's just a testament, honestly. It's just a testament. It's something I wanted to leave behind so that God forbid anything happened to me, people could say, okay, I kind of got an idea what this guy was about. Because I am a bit of a mixed bag. For people who don't know me well, it might be a little hard to understand me because I don't have a conventional profession. I'm not in your traditional line of work. So I can be a little eccentric, a little quirky, but that's the only way I can survive. That's what's allowed me to sustain so far.
And you've been doing very well at it. And you could have stopped at working for all these major brands and having your own book, but you really haven't stopped the journey there. You went ahead and expanded yourself to the community that you live in, and you became the co-founder of the Academy Creative Arts Studio. Talk to us about this studio. Why did you see the need and the importance of having this academy right here in Delaware, and how is it beneficial to our community?
I mean, the Academy Creative Arts Studio, man, it's my baby, man. It's another one of those things where I've just been lucky because I don't dread working on my business. Like I don't dread doing things to develop it to make it better. It's not like, getting up and go to work where some people's like, oh, I gotta go to this job. It's like no, I'd be excited to work at the academy. I spend a lot of long nights here. I'm up all night. I'm here early in the morning because for me, like I said, a big thing is just kind of being passionate about what you're doing. And what happened was working in so many spaces, so many different restaurants, so many different clubs, um, eh, bars. I've seen a lot of them open and I've seen a lot of them close. So I have a little bit of a pulse on just pretty much facilities management, running a facility, knowing what it takes to upkeep it. And the idea behind the Academy Creative Arts Studio was to literally just create another additional resource, another additional space in the city, a simple product where people can use it without having to necessarily go crazy with the promotion because it sells itself. The idea is that, hey, if you have a business, if you have an event, we're here to provide the space. We're here to provide professional space for you so you don't have to have, you know, Thanksgiving at your house and everybody tear up your house. Do it somewhere else. If you do want to have a marketplace, if you do want to do a pop-up shop and you want to create an additional avenue for people to consume your goods, you can do a pop-up shop at the academy so people don't have to come to your house. Me, I'm very big on being competitive with the status quo. So a lot of people that I know, they'll tell you like, well, Fame gonna give it to us raw because I'm like, I've seen the game played to such a level. So when I opened my space, I said, I just want to create event space. I don't necessarily want to open a restaurant. I don't want to open a bar. But if you do want to have a space where you could come in and create that same type of vibe, without having to go through all the actual overhead and the red tape where you say, I just want to have a nice private dinner somewhere, but I don't want to spend $1 million at Olive Garden or XYZ. The idea is that we have space and we try to make it very, very easy and affordable for people to utilize it, right? We do a lot of birthday parties, a lot of baby showers. Um, we've done fashion shows, we've done comedy shows, we've done a little bit of everything. And it's just an additional resource, honestly, that we provide for other entrepreneurs because we understand the struggle. We understand it's not easy. So we just want to make it simple for people to say, hey, I have additional resources if I want to do an event or if I want to promote my product or promote my brand or even do a photo shoot, a video shoot, anything. This space is for creatives. So if you're a creative, God, come check us out at the Academy Creative Arts Studios.
And talk to us about it. I know you briefly mentioned it, your son, about how you're a father, but I want you to talk to us about how you manage it all, because the stereotype out there, unfortunately, for minority children is that the father is absent from either the home or from the child's life. Here, you make it a point to be in your son's life. I see beautiful pictures all the time that you post. You're such a proud father of your son. It looks like he's going to be in the modeling industry himself.
Right. He might. He look a lot better than his daddy, that's for sure.
Talk to us how you've been able to, like, manage your entrepreneur career, being in all these major brands, from commercials to film, to working for the Delaware Bluecoats, to at the end of the day, ultimately still being a father for your son?
Um, I mean, it is a challenge. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but it's the most beautiful thing ever. Like I wouldn't trade it for the world because it's funny. Like with the night my son was born, it was like I feel like 5 gray hairs just like popped out of my face. Like I was in the bathroom at the hospital. It was just like boop boop boop. I was like, what is happening? Like I aged like 10 years overnight. My son was born. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like I'm a little stressed right now, but it's funny because people tell you they're like when they say it clicks, it really kind of does. At least it did for me. Like the moment I held him, it was just like I was like, who is this new person? Because honestly, when you are a father and you have a new child, it's just like any relationship. It's like I've only known you for like 6 months. Like I've only known you for 18 months. I've only because my son is 3, so he's like 3.5. So I haven't known him for 4 years. So every day it's like a learning experience for me. Like it's just constantly unfolding, and I had to pick up speed and start to learn progressively and exponentially myself. Because as I started, fatherhood, I thought that I could kind of approach it like I approach most things that I'm good at, which is easily. Like I don't have to struggle to do a lot of things because I enjoy it. I'm passionate about it. So with fatherhood, it was like I love this. It was like it's cool. It's like it's nothing. It's a kid. I'll take care of him. No big deal. But then you come to learn out. What he need. When he need to sleep, when he need to eat, what he likes to eat. What gives him an attitude. And it's like you're learning these things every day. So initially, I will say I was kind of going with the flow. But progressively over the years, I've tried to get more thorough and just the time that I spend with them, how I communicate to them. When I'm at home, I try to be at home. I try to, put my phone down because a lot of times he'll tell me, like, he'll check me, he'll be like, put your phone down, Dad. Like, what are you doing? Like, here, hold the dinosaur. So he makes me hold the dinosaurs with 2 hands so I can't hold the phone. He'd be like, here. He puts it in my hand. So I'm like, okay, I guess this is you telling me I need to put the phone down. So it's like I try to be very thorough with my time. I will say to parents, time management is a skill you definitely have to develop if you weren't good at it prior to being a parent. Make sure that you start working on it now because that's one thing that I had to step up over time. Like, okay, well, now I got to manage my time a lot more thoroughly than I used to when I had more free time, where it was times where I would be leaving gigs to rush home, just to see him for 10 minutes before he went to sleep, that was just the way I like. I just and I know it might be a bad stereotype, but it's honestly just a reality for a lot of kids whose fathers are just not around. I mean, whether they're gone, whether they passed, whether they're in prison or just absentee, there are so many children that live in that reality. And fortunately, I didn't have to live in that reality. Like I had outstanding parents, I had an outstanding father, so I couldn't see myself doing it any other way as far as just giving 110%. Initially, I was giving 100%. Now I'm giving 110% because I understand how important it is for him just growing up in an uncertain world, just making sure he has a level of security and understanding. That's just of the utmost importance to me. It's something that was ingrained in me from young, and I feel like I probably get it from my parents in the way that I was brought up to make sure that I'm doing the best I can to take care of my little ones.
Wonderful. And lastly, Ray, can you just share with us what's next for you? And I'm also going to leave the virtual floor for you to share any piece of advice or sentiments that you would like to share with our viewers who are watching.
What's next for me? That is a loaded question. I tell you, the academy is always next for me. I'm always working on my baby. She's always here. I'm always around trying to make the business better. So if anybody ever needs any creative art space, please feel free to reach out to me. Reach out to Yesenia. Um, the 15 Minutes of Fame, the Art of the Brand, the handbook is next, and right now it's popping. I will tell you the most important pages on this book are the back pages because that's where all the agencies are, where you guys can start getting working. So for people who are looking for supplemental income in this crazy time, get with me. We can get you guys working. We can, start helping you guys make some moves. So we want to be effective in helping other people right now as well in these financial times so that they're not feeling too pressured to have options, right? So that's what the book is about. We're creating options. We're creating information. I'm also working on a couple other productions right now. I'm about to start my own film. I've already written half the script. Once we finish the script, we're going to start production on our first feature film that we're going to be producing through one of our websites, touchplaytv.com. And we're also doing potentially a pilot for a reality show with sourcemagazine.com. So I wanted to kind of get the book out the way so I could start working on some more film and media stuff, because that is where my passion is. The bug has bitten me a little bit more lately, where people are like, "Hey, man, you got to be a little more serious about this and take it more serious." I'm taking some of my good friends' advice to say, okay, now we want to start working on our own productions, our own films, and potentially our own reality show. So the sky's the limit for me, Yesenia. I'm always looking to take it to the next level, still working contracts, of course, just kind of resume work as normal again, whatever normal is. The best advice I can give you guys out there right now is you got to just do it. You can't wait. You can't wait. And not to say don't rush anything, but make sure you're taking those steps. A lot of the things that I've done prematurely were only a stepping stone for me to learn how I need to move, what I need to do. But the fact is, don't feel like you have to plan forever. Um, right now, especially in such a fast economy where everything is fast, fast, fast. So you look up, if you're going to take 18 months to do something, and then you'll look up and then you'll be like, well, dag, for one, that's not even popular no more. 10 other people already did it in half the time. So I value speed in business. I value speed, quality, and price. You can't get all three, but you can get a couple at a time. So for me, I value speed and I value quality. Um, and we like to get things done quickly, and we like for them to be done right. So I just encourage people, don't wait, man. Like, if you have something that you want to do, if you want to be a musician, you want to be a writer, you want to be an actor, you want to be a poet, a dancer, a bodybuilder, like, it doesn't matter. You have to do it. You have to get up. You have to work harder than everybody else. You're going to have long nights. You're going to have sacrifices. If it was easy, anybody could do it, right? So anybody that has dreams, aspirations, you have to just do it. Be fearless. Don't be afraid of rejection, and be original. You know, do things a little bit the way other people don't do them, because you might get the results that you were looking for by not following the crowd. So these are some of the things that I've done that have helped me throughout my journey. I hope that they can continue to help other people. And yeah, man, we just gonna stay positive. We stay positive, productive, and professional at all times.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today, Ray. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I had fun. Thank you.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you so much for watching this episode of In Focus. It's been an honor to bring before you the story behind Ray Hancock, the Delaware Bluecoats arena host and the co-founder of the Academy Creative Arts Studio. For future showings of In Focus, be sure to tune in to us on Facebook by following us at WITN22 Wilm and by subscribing to our YouTube channel at WITN Channel 22. I've been your host, Yesenia Taveras. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon.